What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Talking Halos. I'm your host today, Jared Timms, and I'm joined alongside my co-host, my partners in crime, Brock Davis and Nate Green. Boys, fellows, we got the brooms out. How you doing? Sweeping?
Yeah, good day. Sweep. Good. Exciting.
Now, I don't want to say that we were kind of right, but kind of right.
Yeah.
They played well
At the right time. It's huge.
Yeah, yeah.
I think we pounded Jack a lot harder than all of us thought we were going to.
Let's watch how we say those kind of things. Okay.
Well, you know what I mean.
keep it PG here.
We hit very well off of Mr. Jack Flaherty, the starting pitcher for the St. Louis Cardinals.
They hit well in general. I'll stand by it. I hope he's in an Angels uniform next year, as he is a free agent.
Same.
Yeah, he's a good pitcher. He just some injuries have hit him along the way, but regardless, Angels get the sweep against the St. Louis Cardinals, a very good St. Louis Cardinals team. Am I frozen again? Or you guys both just not looking at me? Okay, cool.
No,
I just want to make sure. You guys scared me there. You guys are both looking away, and I was like,
nah.
that's a little unstable for me. So
no, you always like to catch me off guard with stuff I'm not expecting. So I'm just refreshing my brain right in the moment.
Yeah, big series, big series. Like I said, swept. I got a question for you guys though. With game 2 of the series, Mikey Trout hits the go-ahead home run, first go-ahead home run in, I believe, first go-ahead home run in the 9th inning or later, 7th inning or later. Forgot what the stat was. Jeff Fletcher threw it out there. I think it was
since July of last year.
July of 2015. Good try though.
Was it 2015?
Yes. Wow. First time he hit a game go-ahead or game-winning home run in the 9th inning or later.
Wow, that does not feel like it would be that long.
With that being said, is Mike Trout clutch? Nate, I'll start with you.
Yeah, he is. Everyone just remembers his strikeouts and things like that. But to be fair, he doesn't get as many opportunities as you would like for your superstar. Like, he does not get the, second and third, 1 out in the 8th inning tie game because they don't pitch to him. Like, they haven't had guys behind him that have been hitting, so it doesn't make sense. Ohtani has typically been hitting in front of him until, a couple of weeks ago. It's hard because sometimes people are like, oh, we need Trout to hit a home run. We're down 1, and he walks, and it's like, oh, he's not clutch. It's like, what do you mean? Like, you want him to swing out of the zone and pop up, or swing out of the zone and strike out? So, like, yeah. I think for who he is and what he does in those opportunities, he is a very, very good baseball player. He's clutch. And honestly, if you were to look at other guys, like, I'm sure if you look at Judge's numbers, if you look at Acuna's numbers, fill in the blank with whoever you want, Bryce Harper, like, they're all going to be similar-ish when it comes to numbers like that.
Yeah, absolutely. As I'm going to be pulling up some stats here. Brock, I'll let you go before I throw some stats out there for everybody.
Yeah, I echo every single thing that Nate just said. I feel like a lot of people that say I'm not saying the people that say Mike Trout isn't clutch don't know what they're talking about, because I know there's going to be someone that says, I know what I'm talking about. I don't think Mike Trout's clutch. But I think to a certain extent, I've had conversations with, casual conversations with people, and they're like, Mike Trout had this opportunity, or he's supposed to be clutch, blah, 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 blah. And those are the kind of people that don't understand the things that, like Nate just brought up, 2nd and 3rd, there's 1, 2 down. You're not going to pitch to him. There's literally zero reason to pitch to him. And a lot of the people that bring that up, I feel like, don't understand those kinds of things. But I think another thing that a lot of people don't understand too is the people that are the superstars of the game. I feel like they get the short end of the stick when it comes to failures. If Matt Theis were to come up and hit a go-ahead home run in that same exact situation, it would be like, wow, and it would be borderline unexpected, kind of like Jake Lamb. Jake Lamb hit that homer. I'm not going to lie. I was more shocked and taken off guard than when Mike Trout came up and hit the homer. It's almost as if you get expectations of greatness from the superstars, and when they don't live up to it in that very moment, it's a bigger letdown than if Jake Lamb were to go up and strike out in a clutch situation. So these guys that are superstars kind of get the short end of the stick because they're super. Exactly, you expect it. And ultimately, at the end of the day, people need to remember, even Mike Trout, when he's hot, you're talking a success rate of getting a hit of 30 to 40%, maybe 50% when he's really hot and in like a 2-week stretch. So people need to remember that baseball, more than any other sport, has the highest failure rate than any other sport on the planet and still be a superstar. So Mike Trout is clutch. He's clutch. And anybody who disagrees with that, we should look at the numbers. Jared, you have them?
Jared, I did look up some numbers too, by the way. Harper and Judge last year in late innings, close games. He hit Harper was 251, Judge was 241 average wise. Harper hit 3 homers, Judge hit 7, but still he struck out a bunch of times. Trout right now is hitting over 300 with a homer in late close games. So it is what it is.
No, I'm with you on that, and I think it's the Mike Trout effect. We've talked about it before. Mike Trout is so good. And I think this is where we get into, like, yes, the Angels haven't developed, but when you develop a Mike Trout, you develop one of, if not the best players of all time, you expect that all the time, and when baseball is a game of failure. We don't need to go into this, but 70% of the time, like Brock said, yeah, he's not going to do it. But that 30% of the time, we're going to let you know he did it, So Mike Trout is clutch. Some more stats to back that up. Since 2015, in the 7th inning or later, 1,128 at-bats. He's 278 hitter, 424 on base, 561 slugging, 162 WRC plus, 61 home runs, 212 walks. Like you mentioned, you get late into games, people don't want to face Mike Trout very much. So there's that.
Can you repeat that WRC plus again?
162. Pretty impressive.
Jeff had some more stats too for you. Yeah. Tying or go ahead run at the plate on base, 9th inning or later. Trout 223 plate appearances, 835 OPS. Judge 116 at 810 OPS. Harper 229, 838 OPS. Betts 199, 906, and Goldschmidt 286, 952 OPS. So Judge and Harper either a little better or a little less, and you can even say Betts is even just barely a little better. So
it's pitching situations. It's huge. You guys both know that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely 100%. And Mike Trout's not going to hit the pitches. I'm just going to keep throwing out a couple more stats, and would love to know what everybody else thinks. If you're watching us on YouTube, drop in the comments below. So since 2015, highest WRC plus minimum, 300 plate appearances in high leverage situations per Fangraphs. So that's not the 7th inning or later. It could be any time, as long as the WPA swings a certain level. Mike Trout has a 171 WRC plus during that span. Next closest one, Josh Donaldson at 150, Bregman's at 149, Rizzo's at 145, Betts is 145, Harper's 143. Mike Trout also has the highest OPS and the only player with a OPS above 1,000. He has a 1,055 OPS. And then last stat here for you guys. In the 7th inning or later in high leverage situations, yes, Mike Trout has a 237 batting average, but he also has 59 walks, which again, it's tough when you have nobody hitting behind you since 2015. This is the first year. So again, doesn't surprise me that he did this. Huge win though for the Angels there on when was that? Is it Tuesday? Was it Tuesday game?
Wednesday night
game. That was a fun game. That was a fun game to watch as well. I know Ohtani didn't pitch all that well, which brings me up to something a little bit different, something I didn't think we'd talk too much about, but not hitting the panic button. We'll probably never hit the panic button with Shohei Ohtani. Are you a little bit worried about Ohtani? He's had 2 really bad innings in his past 2 starts where he's given up 9 runs in just those 2 innings. Gave up 5 in his start previous to this against Oakland, I think, and then 4 in 1 inning against who they just played, St. Louis. I'm not worried about Shohei Ohtani, not worried at all, but want to get any thoughts, see if anybody has any ideas before I say my 2 cents there. Brock, I'll start with you, man.
No, I'm not worried. I think they even brought it up on the broadcast too, which is a really good point. Or maybe it was Nate last podcast. I don't remember. Either way, someone brought up how being an ace on a rotation, a big part of that is if you have bad moments in a start that you're able to bounce back. And we saw that very prevalently. I don't know if that's a word. Prevalently, I'll make it a word. In the A start, when he came out, and I think he went 2 or 3 more innings after that bad inning, and it was great. So the bounce back was more telling to me
than the
actual exactly way more telling to me than the bad inning. And I don't recall yesterday. I think he only threw 5 on his start against St. Louis. And he had the one bad inning where he gave up 4, but he still struck out 13 guys. Like it's almost incredible that you can give up 4 in an inning, pitch 5 innings, and you're still striking out 13 guys. And he's still carrying a 2.5 ERA, even with those 2 bad innings. So over the long term, we look back at the end of the year and he's carrying a 2 to 3 ERA in that ballpark, and he has a ridiculous K9. We're not going to look back and be like, well, those 2 bad innings, like I'm kind of worried about him. Like, we're not going to be thinking about him. So hopefully he keeps bouncing back when he has a bad inning, and hopefully those bad innings get reverberated to 1 or 2, 3 runs in the inning, and not having blow up innings like that. Because then if there's one day where he's feeling off and he can't bounce back, that's where it's going to be an issue. He can't bounce back, and now he's having a 3 inning or a 4 inning start because he had a bad inning in inning 3 or 4. So hopefully he continues to do what he's doing and can figure out why he's having these blow up innings and keep it, limited damage, but no, I'm not worried at all. I feel like kind of curious what Nate has to say on this, but
I'm gonna steal Nate's thunder, by the way, because I'm gonna go first before him. I think I know what he's gonna say. Nate, I think we've talked about this a couple times before. I don't think Ohtani's pitched all that well this year. I think like the numbers, I think the numbers say that he really has. And like, if you watch every single one of his starts, he hasn't been bad. He's disgusting. Like it's the bit, like if I was writing up a scouting report on Shohei Ohtani and he was pitching like this in the minors, and everybody looked at his numbers like, why isn't he up? I'd be like, it's the same thing as Ben Joyce. When he is on, he is unhittable. When he is slightly off, he's still unhittable, right? Like we saw 13 strikeouts against the Cardinals. Didn't have his best inning, right? When he's bad, he's bad. Like he gets shellacked. He's had 2 bad innings where he gets shit on, like he's given up home runs. He's like against Oakland. That shouldn't happen against Oakland. I think it's a little bit of an underrated team. I like Soderstrom. I like a couple of those guys there. But that's just me. As a minor league guy,
minor league players.
As minor league guy, I like some of their minor league players. Yes. But
you don't like any of their major league players, but
I said I like Soderstrom. Didn't Soderstrom hit a tanker?
Well, Rooker has been hitting very well too. I think
tank.
Rooker hit a homer off of him too.
Rooker hit the tank, and then who's the other catcher? No, Soderstrom. Langeliers. That's what I'm thinking of. Sorry, Soderstrom.
Yeah, Soderstrom's still in AAA, bud.
Yeah. Sorry,
Langeliers is solid. Langeliers and Rooker are the best hitters on that team.
Minor league guy here. I'm sorry, but regardless, Nate, I'm sorry. I stole your thunder because I still think it's the same thing. Like, I think that Shohei Ohtani has pitched good enough to get wins, good enough to be a really freaking good pitcher. But like, if you watch him enough this year, he really hasn't pitched all that good. He's been extremely wild. Let's call it effectively wild because of how much his stuff moves. And he's got 18 pitches, so you really don't know what's coming. But when he's bad, like we've seen these last 2 innings that he's had, it's been really bad. He's also thrown the sweeper a lot more than I'd like to see. Get back to the splitter. I don't know if he can throw that much with the elbow, or if he's worried about that. Especially with free agency looming, I would maybe think about him maybe being a little weary throwing the splitter, because if he gets hurt, he might not be getting paid quite as much. I mean, it's still no Shohei Ohtani, but a second Tommy John, that's tough. And strikeouts mean a lot. Stuff plus means a lot right now in this world that we're in. So it wouldn't surprise me if he's kind of holding back a little bit. That's a weird thing to say, and I'm not accusing him of this, but like the more I talk about it, it kind of is weird that it kind of adds up like that. But he's disgusting. And when he's been on, he's unhittable. So I'm not worried about him. It would be great for him, to throw a couple more pitches and not get sweeper happy. So Nate, go ahead.
Yeah, you did steal my thunder there.
I know. I wanted to say it. I wanted to sound smart.
No, I almost said it just to piss you off. And be like, hey, maybe he's tipping his pitches. Maybe that's why he's getting hit. No, shut up.
He's not tipping his pitches.
Just shut up and let him pitch. They won games. They win the games. That's all I care about is they won the game. With Shohei, I'm not worried. The biggest thing with him is he is getting really 2-pitch happy. And
yes, he is.
The slider and sweeper are getting, or whatever you want to call it, sweeper and curveball. They're getting very, very similar-ish, where guys are able to kind of see-spin and know what to swing and what not to. So I would like to see him mix it up a little bit and throw a couple more.
I don't know what his percentage of sweeper is, but it's almost a pitch. Like, I know it's disgusting, but if you sit on it long enough, I'm sure you see that up. It's like a curveball in a sense. You know, you really start seeing that spin, I would assume.
Yeah. So I would just like to see him throw a couple more pitches, maybe a splitter here and there, just something else to keep guys off balance, because it really does feel like it's a lot of fastballs sweeper. So I'm not too worried about it. I think, honestly, I think he should stop calling pitches. I think that Chad Wallach can call a game. Yeah, Chad Wallach is fine. Obviously, if we have Matt Thaiss behind there, then yeah, let him call his own game. But Chad Wallach is a good enough veteran catcher to call a game. If you don't trust Chad Wallach to call a game, then we're in big trouble. So I think that, honestly, it would probably help him to let Chad Wallach call the game just one time to give him time to just pitch. You know, not worry about, oh man, I got to call this pitch because of this. No, just like let Wallach call the game and just throw whatever he calls. So I'm not really worried.
No, neither am I. And Brock, you brought up a fantastic point. I was just about to go to this, and I just want yes or no's from you guys, because I actually think it's gonna happen. So it's a yes from me. Moving on to Gary Sanchez. Angels have been linked to Gary Sanchez. They were linked to him before the season. I think this is a fantastic time to sign him. I don't know what he brings defensively, but he's a veteran presence. He has a good arm, and he's going to be able to hit a little bit. Plus, Phil Nevin knows him a little bit because of the Yankees days. So there is that connection as well. So just want simple yes or no. You can throw in your 2 cents if you want, but do you think the Angels will sign Gary Sanchez?
Yes. And I think
so too.
To touch just on what Nate just said with Wallach calling a game, I think with Ohtani's injury potentially being out for the rest of the season, I know he's talked about potentially coming back. We all know how that tends to work out sometimes. Not trying to be negative Nate here, but sometimes we get told that and it's a lot different. So I think Gary Sanchez does come to the Halos, and I think that he brings that veteran presence. And I think for the right price, it would be a great addition with him and Wallach kind of, and Thaiss, I guess, to maybe potentially sharing time there throughout the span of the year. I just don't know what happens with that roster spot. I would imagine, oh man, I don't even know what they would do with that.
Thaiss gets DFA'd.
They probably DFA'd.
Thaiss gets DFA'd.
Wait, what?
Thaiss gets DFA'd.
Oh, Thaiss gets DFA'd. So, I mean, even then, I mean, it sucks because, you know, even when we brought up Theiss's catcher interference games before, I even kind of defended him a little bit. I've liked his bat, but I think as a catcher, unless you're going to be JT Realmuto, and I loved Ohtani, but to a certain extent with our pitchers being as volatile as they are, I think, at least that's my opinion, I think having a good defensive catcher that can call a game behind the plate is going to be more important to me than getting an Ohtani level bat. And I think Gary Sanchez, obviously, if he's on, he can give an Ohtani level bat. He's going to hit terribly for average, but he's going to give you hopefully a homer sometimes when you need one. So I think Gary Sanchez might be a good bet. And, you know, what are we going to be paying him? $4 million?
The league minimum.
Hopefully not that.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, I didn't even think of that. So we're paying him league minimum. So I don't see why not. What's the con here?
Yeah, he just came off signing with the Giants on a minor league contract. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't sign a minor league contract somewhere else, or if anything was a major league contract. But I do think the Angels do get him, Nate.
What's our major league minimum now that the new CBA is like 700 or something?
820?
820?
8 something like that.
I think they try to get him. I don't think they get him. I think there's a bad taste in his mouth from what happened this offseason. I think the Angels were the mystery team, like they always were, with Gary Sanchez, the team who said, hey, we're going to sign you. You know what? Our Bally Sports thing ain't going to work out. We don't have the money. Sorry about it. No thanks. I do think the Angels were the mystery team. I think Jared and I talked about that a little bit. I think he's got a little bit of a bad taste in his mouth from his agent having to deal with that, saying like, hey, here's the contract. Let's get her done. And then, never mind. No thanks. So I think there's going to be somebody else who gives him an offer. I'm not going to speculate on who it is, but there's going to be other teams interested in him. But I would sign him. Like, I would not be upset if the Angels sign him. I just don't think the Angels get him because of the sour taste in his mouth from the way that things went on this offseason.
we will just wait and see, because he's going to sign with somebody. So Brock, me and you are just going to kind of sit back here with this next question that I have for you guys. Last question before we get on to a little bit of previewing this next series. This is going to be Nate's segment here. What should the Angels do with Aaron Loup? Take it away, Nate Green.
Just check my Twitter. I don't think you need anything else on that. DFA him, cut him, tell him thanks, but no thanks. Pack his bags for him. I don't care. Get him off the freaking roster. He should not be near the roster. Put a magnet in his glove that doesn't allow him near Angel Stadium. I don't care. Dude should not be allowed in the Angels clubhouse ever again.
Is that all you got? That's it. You're not going to go.
That's all I need. Like
I'm the last person that says DFA somebody, especially on a team like the Angels.
Don't forget $8.5 million.
I know $8.5 million that you're not trading $8.5 million.
No, I'm just bringing up the fact that we paid him $8.5 million.
No, I know it. I know what you're doing. $8.5 million. Yes, I think he's making about $8.5 million.
It might be 8.
Totally forgot. Oh, today's game was kind of the final straw for me, in my opinion, with the Aaron Loup thing. It like you, Nate, I know you didn't talk me into it at all. It's one of those things where, yes, you're paying him $8.5 million, so you expect him to pitch well. You really do. You expect him to be at least a 0.7 win pitcher, Fangraphs wise, like something like that. Yeah, you don't have a spot for him to pitch, right? He came in the 5th inning, which I don't think
6th inning.
In the 6th inning of today's game in a 7-run game and couldn't get out of the inning. So you can't put him in low leverage situations right now. You definitely aren't putting him in a high leverage situation if you can't get outs in that low leverage situation. Though again, today I didn't think he was used in the right way. I thought they should have brought Davidson in and saved the bullpen. They went and used 5 different relievers after that, and we don't need to really get into that too much because we could just break that down. But I don't want to be, negative Nancy or negative Nate over here with the bullpen usage of today. They won games, and I'm extremely happy. But that being said, yeah, Aaron Loup, it wouldn't surprise me if they DFA'd him. I think that you are seeing some type of feel in the Angels bullpen at the moment, and it's working for him. I said some type. I didn't say something great, but Aaron Loup is really not fitting in that mold. You have Silseth, that's pitching late in games. You have Matt Moore, who's pitching late in games. Carlos Estevez has really stepped into that closer's role. Closer's role.
Did you just say closer?
I did say closer's role.
Wow.
Yeah. You're welcome.
You don't even believe in that.
No, I don't. But I think you have an established 7-8, 9 right now. I think if you bring up somebody like Ben Joyce, and you really secure that back end of that bullpen, I become a lot less worried. You have Tucker Davidson, who looks real good, not in the high leverage, but in situations where you need to get outs because your starter couldn't get deep into a game. That's where I thought he should have been used today, and you didn't have to burn as much bullpen up. But yeah, I mean, the bullpen's looking interesting at the moment. It took a month to kind of sort it all out. It sucks that Kyoto has to have Tommy John. We didn't really mention that. But again, the Angels swept, and I'm not going to really nitpick anything at all. With that being said, let's look forward to this Texas Rangers series. Big series, even though we are in May. The top 2 teams in the AL West, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, facing off against each other. The Texas Rangers do not have any starters out at the moment, at least from what I can find. I looked all over Twitter. I don't see it. Do you have starting pitchers? Do you know where they're
at? Dane Dunning is scheduled to start tomorrow. Evaldi is scheduled to start. Last time I checked, I thought it was Saturday.
You don't have them. I know you don't.
I do.
It's not on the MLB app, which I usually is where they get them from. So I mean, I'll trust you on this.
Evaldi starting Saturday.
So you go
Dane Dunning. Yeah.
So you go Dunning against Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
Who do we got there, fellas? This is an easy one for me. Brock, I'll start with you. Or I can go if you got to think about it longer. Or you're muted. What do we got going on here, guy?
Sorry, I was muted. I lied.
No, you're good. You're good.
I think Rangers will probably take game 1.
Ooh,
I personally haven't liked Anderson lately, even though his stat line his stat line looked better last game. I don't have faith in Anderson tomorrow.
Pitched well. Tough to see the lefty in Angel Stadium. Nate, I know you love that comment. I'm going to go with the Rangers as well. I think, the Angels are playing good baseball, but not quite that good enough. Nate, what do you got?
Yeah, it's stunning. Rangers win. Anderson doesn't. I don't trust Anderson at all. Evaldi's going game 2 on Saturday.
Evaldi against Detmers, kind of a fun matchup there. Anytime
It
Detmers
is a very fun
pitches.
matchup.
What?
I said it is a fun matchup.
Yeah, it's a fun matchup. Evaldi's pitched well against the Angels in the past. We'll have to wait and see. I think this is going to come down to the bullpen, and I think that the Angels have slightly better bullpen at the moment if it's used right. Said Nate, if it's used right. All right, I look right down at you there. If it's used right, I think the Angels have a slightly better bullpen at the moment. So I'll take the Angels in like an extra inning walk-off game or something weird like that. Nate, what do you got?
This one's tough for me. I'm gonna go Angels here. I think Evaldi dominates for 7, but the bullpen blows it for the Rangers. I agree with you. I think the bullpen does blow it a little bit. Detmers pitch is good enough to keep him in the game. He's not going to be like super sharp where it's like 7 shutty, but maybe he goes 5, gives up 1, and then the Angels just chip away 7th and 8th and win the game.
Detmers has kind of been that not Jose Suarez. Wow, has kind of been Detmers has kind of been that Shohei Ohtani type thing where he's had 1 bad inning in each almost every start. It feels like he gave the grand slam, give up a couple other runs and obviously some other games there. So if he can stay away from that bad inning, I like the Angels there. Brock, you got the same thing, or how you feeling?
Yeah, I'm going to do Angels. I'm going to take a little bit of a different approach than Nate did. I think we're going to pull a Flaherty on Evaldi, and we're going to score early, and we're going to score big, and then we're going to get shut down for a while. So I'm going to say maybe 4 to 6 runs, and he still throws like 6 innings. And then Detmers will throw well and then have another bad inning, and then we'll put it within 1 or 2, and then we'll touch the bullpen up and win by 1 or 2.
Back or forth there. Sounds good. And then the Sunday game, Jose Suarez.
Do you even need a Rangers starter in that game?
Jose Suarez is pit. He has.
Do you need a Rangers starter in that game?
Hold on. Jose Suarez has thrown 7 straight shutout innings. You shut your mouth about Jose Suarez and leave him alone.
Do you
I need him good, baby. I got him on my fantasy team this
Jose,
no.
You have Suarez on your fantasy team?
I picked him up for this start because that's how much faith I have.
Drop him.
I would drop him.
No.
Fast.
I have faith.
I am the say all be all here.
It is
I'm not
Martin
letting you
Perez,
two guys
by the
answer
way.
this.
Just for those of you wondering, it is Martin Perez versus Jose Suarez.
I couldn't have been Gray or something.
John Gray got pushed back to Monday. It was Martin Perez. Martin Perez has thrown the ball really well this year. Not a lot of strikeouts. Pitched well, 2.41 ERA, I believe. 4-1 in his starts this year. Has done well against my favorite pitcher, Jose Suarez. Of course, I am going to take.
If you would have said anybody. If you would have said anybody else besides Martin Perez, I would have said Jose Suarez shuts it out. It's going to come down to the bullpen again, though. I think Suarez is going to continue to pitch well. I'm just saying, like, I think he's going to continue his hot hand. He's going to walk a couple guys. We're going to say, he's earned another start. But
it's going to be 5 innings, 4 runs, and we're going to be sitting here arguing about, do we give him another start?
No. If that kind of start, I'm just saying, if that kind of start happens again, you need to go away from him. You need to.
I'm telling you, that's what's going to happen. It's going to be one of those where it's like, he gave up 1 run through 4. Oh, in the 5th inning, he gave up 3 run shot.
All
maybe
right.
we do run him back out there one more
You're
time.
done.
It wasn't bad.
You're done.
Be done, Nate. Be done. Brock, I don't even want to hear from you anymore. Okay, Nate.
Hey, whoa.
Go take it away with your fantasy starters here.
All right, no. All right, I'm gonna say the exact opposite of what Nate said. Nate said Evaldi was gonna dominate for 7 innings in game 2. I'm gonna say, God, come on. Suarez is gonna dominate for 7 innings on Sunday night. Okay, he's gonna dominate. I know it. Okay, Martin Perez is also going to dominate for 6 or 7 innings. Okay, I'm gonna get 6 or 7. 1 or 2 earned runs less than for each starter. And then Sunday night for the finale, it's going to be a bullpen 7-8-9 for sure. And it's going to be another close game. And I think Angels are going to edge it out and take the series 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
Pitches 107 that afternoon, by the way.
Yeah. 107 game. Tough time seeing righties during the day there in Anaheim. It's supposed to
be. You mean lefties? You mean lefties?
Yes, that's fine. No, yeah, I think it's going to come down to the bullpen. I'm going to give it Martin Perez in that one. I think, and then we see panic and.
What about your guy?
I'm just letting you know. I think
You're a
that,
huge Jose Suarez fan.
I think that I think that somebody
DFA loop move. DFA loop. Get Suarez back down if he has another bad start, which hope not. Move sell Seth to that 6th spot. Bring Joyce up to fill bullpen spot, and then who would be the other guy? Fill the other spot. I'm brain farting.
I think you got
because you'd be moving Silseth.
Suarez and Loop.
Yeah, because Suarez is out of options, right?
And Wants. Yeah, you bring up Joyce. And
there you
Wants.
go.
You said you brought up Joyce.
So. Wants. That's what I was talking about.
All right. Well, all that being said, guys, thank you so much for listening to this podcast and watching us here on YouTube. If you could go ahead and subscribe wherever you are listening or watching, you can go ahead and follow us on all our social medias, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And check us out at talkinghalos.com. You can follow myself on Twitter, Jared_Tims, Nate at NateGreen34, and Brock at BDROX8. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Have a great rest of your day.